Hi, and welcome to another episode of First to Third. This time we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do a one-on-one with the guys El Guapo out of Kansas City, Missouri. Afternoon, guys.
Hi, Matt.
Uh,
Hi, guys. So I've got Chip. Um, he has himself a little hashtag down there. What's it say?
Chip Mezzo is my Twitter handle.
Oh, okay, you changed it from what we just saw a second ago.
It was way better a second ago.
It was a lot better.
It was a lot better. And then we've got Dave, who's also the captain of El Guapo, and also, I should point out, the event manager of the Kansas City Kickball Open.
Come to Kansas City next year.
Definitely. Well, thanks for joining me, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so you getting excited? We got a couple days left till we all head down to New Orleans.
Oh, we're pretty pumped. We're ready to go. It's cold and rainy and wet, and we all have colds here in Kansas City. We're ready to get somewhere warm.
Yeah, there's a few folks here in the D.C. area who have also said that they're catching sinus infections or colds or whatever, and we're telling them to stay at home and get healthy now and don't show up to New Orleans with a cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got strep like right after I got back from Vegas. It was terrible.
Ugh. Well, guys, so I wanted to just take this opportunity to ask you a few questions, call it a conversation, if you will. Wanted to just sit down with some guys that are coming down to New Orleans to the Circuit Cup and get their thoughts. Sound good?
Sounds great.
So, what did you think of kickball when you first discovered the sport? And we'll start with Dave.
First time I played it, there was nothing like there is in competitive kickball here in Kansas City. I was on a horrible team, but they let me play rover, and I let me just go get the ball, and I got a pretty big ego, so if I can just go get the ball and they let me do whatever I want, I was instantly hooked. And then I started to try and find better people and people that could actually get on base, and from there I was hooked. It was amazing. I played a lot of softball and played some flag football, and it wasn't the same. Like the ball's in play on every kicker in kickball. Like in softball, it wasn't the same. Flag football, like you could lock down. Somebody else might get beat. In kickball, I don't know. It was epiphany, if you will. Yeah, it's kind of the best way to describe it.
Chip?
And man, the first time I played, I was in with a bunch of friends, my old roommates and stuff, and we joined a Waka League. 1 second.
Go ahead.
Go ahead and go on. Sorry, I'm having a couple issues here. 1 second.
So, Dave, while Chip fixes tech stuff, when did you start playing? Was it immediately right after schooling, or did you, looking for a date, or what was it? What actually brought you to the sport?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear any of that.
Nah. All right.
All right, here we go. I think we're good.
We're good now. Technical difficulties resolved. Chip, we'll go back to you. What brought you to the sport? What did you think the first time you discovered kickball, and how did you end up kind of getting attached to it and addicted to playing?
It came from, I joined a team, local Waka League with some old roommates and friends, and whenever we jumped in, I was like, this is fun. I played outfield, and if you ask Dave or anyone else on Guapo, I'm easily the worst outfielder that's ever played kickball. But I played that, and then I got to play catcher for a game, and then right there, I was like, ooh. And then there was this El Guapo team who were like, we go to Vegas and stuff. And I was like, I'd like to go to Vegas. And it just turned out to be, one of those things that, for me, it just stuck. Like, it was one of those new competitive things I could do, and I absolutely loved it. And so I ran with it, and here I am today. I enjoy every tournament I go to. But I got hooked right away. It didn't take but 2 or 3 games, really.
Very cool. Now, back to Dave. Let me ask you this. At what point did you decide traveling for kickball was something that not only was a benefit, you get a kick out of it and get to see tougher competition, but when did you decide financially, it's worth the money? Because it is a big commitment for a lot of folks to travel, and oftentimes when we talk to folks who have never traveled, that first event where they have to go outside their comfort zone, either travel 100 miles away, driving, get on a plane, and fly down to South Florida for their first event. At what point did you decide, okay, this is worth the money, I'm going to travel?
Sure. So we went to Vegas for Founders Cup because we had been talking about it for 2 years, and finally we just put it out there and we said, if you're on this team, you're committing to going to Founders Cup. And we actually made it out of pool play and lost to the situation. We played them pretty well that game, and then after that I was on the boards, but I was just kind of a lurker, and Chip doesn't lurk at anything, so he was on the boards and talking to everybody. And we knew that Austin was coming up, and we're in a weird spot because we're in the Midwest. Like, you can't drive to San Diego, you can't drive to South Florida, but Austin we could drive to. And the foolish people, all 7 of them, piled into a minivan and drove down there. Nick and I were smart enough to buy a plane ticket and flew in. But we went down there and we lost 4 games. Actually, we lost 3. We went 0-3-1. And but we played the Shower Hammers. We played relax, and we played relax to a 1-0 loss. Our first game, we played Shower Hammers pretty well, and we were like, we're not good yet, but we can compete. We can get better. And after that, everybody was like, all right, when's the next one? When's the next one? People are like, well, I might just buy ramen for the next 2 weeks, but I'm going to San Diego in 2 months. And it wasn't a hard sell on my part. I was just like, hey, this one's coming up. And people are like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Sorry?
What was that moment in time where you decided, all right, traveling for kickball is well worth the time, effort, and money to go to these things?
Man, Founders was awesome, like Dave said, and then he kind of came up and said, let's go to Austin, let's go, see what we can do, and we did. And it was at that point, after that, when I met just a ton of people. Because if you look back at our last interview we had, our last podcast, for me, a lot of it for me is just the community itself. They really sold it for me, was just everyone being just awesome. And then that competitive day, you go out there and everyone puts their best out on the line, and I like to see that. Everyone plays hard, everyone plays, with a lot of passion. And so, when you see that in such a new sport and a new game, it really makes you want to be a part of it as much as you can. And so, I got to the point where I went and played with another team at Georgia, and I went and played with a different team this year in Founders, just because I love to travel that much and I want to go to those tournaments.
Very cool. All right, let me ask you this. A lot of teams in the past year or two are struggling to compete at the highest level, and to make up for those differences where maybe they don't have enough local talent to travel to events, they're recruiting outside their local region or conference. El Guapo is one of these teams where you guys have 16 players coming down to New Orleans, but actually only 10 are from the Kansas City area, and the other 6 are from San Francisco. Now, they've played with you. They were in Denver, and they also were with you at your local event in Kansas City. But how do you guys prepare, given that 6 of your players are out west playing local kickball year-round, and you all are now frozen or close to it?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and we're trying to balance that. Really, it's all on Sarah Peterson, and I hate to just put it on her, but last year I went out to San Francisco, and she had her own team. We have been playing a lot together, but Peterson is essentially the captain of El Guapo out west. Like, she gets them to practices. She talks to them. She's like, this is where we think you're going to play, and have them practice that spot. So, I mean, if I didn't have Peterson, I don't know what we would do. She really gets them going. And, she's like, all right, Stu, you're going to be pitching this. This is what Dave thinks. This is what I think. And then she gets Stu in line, and then Stu starts throwing heat. Yeah, it's a lot of communication, and Peterson being a lot better than me.
She's better at it than him.
Very cool. All right, so Chip, let me ask you this: what's the best part about, aside from just the people aspect and just the community in general, what's the best part about the forum? A lot of folks lurk on the forums, other actually engage with the community. What do you think the best part of the forum is?
I mean, if I didn't say sit and stand thread, then I would be a liar. But
It is one of the most epic threads.
Just a lot of the there's a lot of trash talk, but it's all has respect behind it and things like that. And I really enjoy that. And it's just kind of fun to see what other people's views are on this person or that team. But really, just the amount of participation with that small group. There is that small group within kickball who we've all kept talking, and even though we live in different states, and it's one thing that makes the tournaments a lot more fun is when you get there, you can be like, well, I told you so, and all the bets that go on. I mean, there's probably 150 bets right now for who's going to give up the first run, or in New Orleans or whatever, just things like that, and then all the different activities like the Challenger or the Survivor Pool. When I did the Words with Friends tournament, like stuff like that keeps the forum going whenever we're off season. So it just there's a lot of different things that make it into its own unique forum. But definitely the sit and stand thread, sit or stand thread, yeah.
Dave, I think you're kind of wearing your answer, but.
Well, no, I mean, I mostly lurk, and that's kind of the nature of who I am. But like, I used to work nights. When we were just getting started, and that's what I would do all night, is I would just sit there and read the forums and at 2:30 in the morning when everybody else was asleep. And if I ever get a break at lunch or at work now, I'm on there, and I'll text Chip, hey, did you see what they did, or you see what this person did? But like, I like that everybody's got their own little style, their own little nuance to it, and the people are awesome. Like, I've talked to Brick, I've talked to Oakley, I've talked to other people, like people who I consider great captains, on how to get my team better. Like, you can't do that in any other sport, and that's where you make all the connections, is through the forum. So it's a great heart to our sport. So if you're not on it, you got to get on it.
Agreed. There's quite a bit of lurkers on the forum, as evidenced by, as the evidence shows in terms of stats going to the site and how many page views we get every month, in the tens of thousands. And then you look at the posts, and some threads have quite a bit of posts, quite a bit of views. But it's definitely an engaging forum. I remember 3-4 years ago, you'd show up to an event and folks would be wearing their name tag, and it wouldn't say their name, it'd be their username. I, to this day, still do not go by my first name at these events. And if you call me by the name Matt, I likely will not answer you, because I feel like I'm in the kickball atmosphere, which is fine, and I love it. I have many men as a result of my nickname. But let me ask you this, focusing on the Circuit Cup and preparing for this. What's going to keep you up on Friday night before the event? Yeah, you're going to be excited, but what are going to be the thoughts going through your mind before you wake up on Saturday? We'll start with you, Chip.
Can we be consistent? Dave and I talk about this on a weekly basis. Guapo's one of our big things is either we have that one inning where we all kind of play tired. We seem tired even though we're not, or we just make a simple mistake. And it's Dave will agree, I think, that we've always had like a decent defense and we've lacked on offense. And so we really have to lock down. And so that'll be my big thing, is if we can score runs, that'll be a big one. I think that with being able to combine our roster from people that have played with us throughout the year, we've got some of our better kickers. And in Denver, we really started to excel, and we scored a lot of runs, actually, finally. And so the biggest thing that'll be on my mind is can we not have that one inning, and can we put up 3 or 4 a game, which is a ton for us if we could put up 3 or 4 a game.
Dave?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is going to be whoever the Pounders leadoff is, and then it'll be Epstein. And getting the leadoff guy out is huge in kickball. Guapo's always lacked. Jonas has done a great job. Aaron's a great pitcher. But, we've always lacked. We don't have a Benz. We don't have a Corey. Is our pitching going to come through? And the way that they've been practicing now. They've looked really, really good. So as long as pitching will travel from Kansas City in the cold to the Bayou, like that's the thing that I'm concerned about, because we got two great catchers. We got a shitty first baseman, but he catches the ball.
That's
We
you.
got
First.
yeah, we we got a lockdown third baseman, but like, if Jonas just ran out of steam in Denver, like I thought that was our game, and ODB came up to us afterwards, and they're like, you guys finally got the offense going. The pitching just wasn't there. And Jonas pitched every single inning that game. He tore his thigh. That's why he's not coming. He tore it in Denver. So if we can pitch, like that's the thing that I'm concerned about right now.
I'm our third string pitcher. That's bad.
Join the club.
Yeah.
You want to join a team, Matt?
I have a team. I'll be OSC come Circuit Cup.
Yeah, I think he got one of those sweet jerseys that is probably going to win that award.
Yeah. What about that jersey, Matt? And the shirt.
And those awesome party shirts. You guys are a social kind of a crew. So
I thought of a great shirt just the other day for New Orleans with Papa Shango. If you guys know wrestlers, like I had a Papa Shango El Guapo jersey lined out. It's just I can't get it done in 3 days.
No, you can't, unless you're working with a great sponsor like Pear. So let me ask you this. You kind of touched on this with your pitching and just making sure your guys are practicing well. What other specific habits have you guys formed at these practices? A lot of folks across the country have their own method to the mayhem in terms of practicing for Circuit Cup. A practice for some teams might include 8 folks, 5 guys, 3 girls, and you might spend an hour and a half just on pitching and bunting, just on the mechanics of, bunt down third base line, have the, charger and pitcher go after. What are some of the specific habits you guys are focusing on before you come down to the Cup this weekend?
I'm going to let Dave really answer, but, the one thing that we do, everyone knows us for the most part as, we go out and we kind of have a blast. We don't come in as a powerhouse. So, we come here to play a tournament, but we're still going to go out there and have a really good time. But like I said, I'll let Dave answer the more, how we really are working hard. But we try to keep them light, and we try to keep them with humor and stuff like that, so no one's getting in their own heads or anything like that. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, it's something I hate to keep bringing it up, but he was so helpful. Something I talked about with Oakley. He's like, we don't force anybody to come to practice, so Guapo doesn't force anybody to come to practice. We try and make it fun, because nobody wants to go out in 30-degree weather just to do the same thing over and over. So we try and have fun. When Guapo gets in trouble is when Guapo thinks it's better than it is and starts getting super serious. But like,
that's a face right there.
I'll try to finish what he was saying. He might come back in. But yeah, we try. Whenever we start to get too serious, we start to beat ourselves, and we don't want to do that. Am I breaking up now?
No, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, when we get in our own heads, and that's when we start making the biggest mistakes, and so that's why we try to keep it light on the field. Sorry, Dave. Go ahead and continue. I was just going to keep.
Sorry about that. Yeah, we're just, we are who we are. Like, I'm a jokester, Chip's a jokester. Like, we're a bunch of fools out there trying to play as hard as we can. And so that's what practice is. Like, practice is, we get our work done, but, like, we make sure that we're having fun, because kickball's fun. It's fun to score runs. It's fun to drop a teardrop in. It's fun to kick it deep. So we make sure that we're trying to have fun while being as good as we can.
Now let me ask this as terms of a follow-up. How much scouting do you do on YouTube for the teams you're about to face, or that you think you're going to face come, a tournament weekend? Anytime?
I don't really do a lot of work. So at work, I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I've seen every game that's on 365 channel, Rick's channel, Dave Asario's channel. I've seen all those videos probably 10 or 15 times each. So yeah, I watch a lot of video just so I can try and see what people like to do best whenever they bunt, or how they run the bases.
Yeah.
Dave?
And well, Gitco's actually was in Kansas City. He's on the Pounders. He actually lived here for school for a year, so I've been trying to exploit that friendship to try and get any insider information I can. Um, it has not worked out very well. You'll be very happy, Brent. Gitgos has not let anything go. But like, KO lives in LA, and so she sees Sofa all the time. So I've been, mining her for information. We'll talk to Sergio about Sofa. Like the relationships that we've formed with other teams are the best scouting routine that we've got. Like you can watch Ben's 1,000 times on video, but it's totally different when you're in the batter's box against them.
Definitely.
Agreed. Definitely agreed. All right, so let's focus to the Cup coming up on Saturday. Again, Circuit Cup Championship 2013. You got 32 teams. El Guapo, you guys have Pool A, so you've got the #1 seed Sofa King. My team, Other Shot Callers, coming in as the 10th seed. Yourself at the 11th seed. 20th, you've got Peninsula Pounders, a solid team with some big legs. And then 21 is the Swamp Donkeys. So we all know on this podcast that the top two do not advance. It's not like World Cup where the top two in our pool are going to advance. It's the top 15 teams across the entire field plus the one wild card. In one word, how would you describe, if you can win this pool, what one word would you use if you guys won the pool?
To kind of define how we would win it, or what I would say if we did win it?
If you did win it, what's the one word you would use to describe that feeling?
Mine's 2 words, and it's not appropriate for this podcast.
That's fine.
I would just say Guapo, because it's Guapo. My one word would be Guapo because it would have been all of us getting us there, because that would be a huge accomplishment if we won that pool.
That'd be epic. If you end up going and winning Pool A, I would by far say you guys have a very good shot at being in the top 5 total seeds. I think a lot of folks have been talking about this event and posting their predictions and keeping the powerhouses at the top. The powerhouses meaning OSC, Panic Attack, the Meatballs, and Sofa King. But I'm ready to see some of these other teams squeak through or surprise the hell out of us. And make a statement. And I hope El Guapo, even though I could be on the losing end of that, I hope you guys do have that opportunity with the players you've got coming down.
Yeah, I think Oakley or Adrock said it best, where they said lights out. Kyle Tyson, Jason, they've got one of our old players, Brian Boger.
Brian Boger, man, that kid's phenomenal.
He really is. He's underappreciated. I know he was by us, and we lost him because he moved up to Philly. So.
Very cool.
No, I think some of those pools are ridiculously hard, and you could tie 2 games, and a team in a pool that's maybe not as tough, if they can get 2 wins and a tie, I know everybody thinks that all the powerhouses are getting out, but it's not mathematically going to work out that way. We think we know what we need to do to get out, and we're going to fight like hell to get out. That's our goal, is to get out and see what happens. And so, I just don't think that every team that's in the top 10 of the perceptive powerhouses is getting out. They're just not. There's not going to be 3 teams out of C, D, and E. But that's just one fat man's opinion.
So let me ask you this. In terms of, you guys have been dropping names left and right in terms of captains across the country who have made statements with their teams over the years, and more recently with Lights Out and Captain Jason and Kyle. Who would you view as one of your, maybe not a hero, but someone you're always seeking out at events? It could be someone you've already said, but who's that one person that you're always looking for his or her opinion?
Brick Fawcett. That's one of my big ones. Brick and Sergio from BCC. Those would be my 2 that I always try and find to talk to him about it at some point.
Yeah, I love Sergio. Sergio's awesome. We don't talk a lot of kickball, but I think that's great. I mostly bounce stuff off Don Prince, and whenever I see him on there and I don't think I'm going to pester him, like I'll hit up Oakley, just because, I mean, that kid just, that kid gets it. And then, like, we asked Dematis a lot of stuff. Like, Dematis is, like, he's our granddaddy. Like, we throw stuff at him, and then he yells at us through an AOL email address. But
most likely written out of Internet Explorer.
Yeah, he's probably typing out an email that I sent him 20 days ago.
So I got just a couple more questions. Describe to me that victory you guys had this year in Kansas City. Ignoring the feedback of, oh, it wasn't that big of an event, you still won a circuit event. Describe to me that feeling, and then how should a team who thinks they have no shot of ever winning a circuit event, what would you have to say to them?
Come to KCKO and your dreams come true.
No, it was amazing. I mean, if you actually watch the tape of that, we were an error away, I think, from a perfect game that game.
Yeah, you guys played a very good finals game.
But like, that's the thing. Like, you only get better by playing better teams. Like, I truly believe that. But at some point, you need to learn how to win. So that's kind of what KCKO was for us. Like, I think Duff said it best. Like, sometimes the hardest thing to do is win when you're supposed to. And that felt, I mean, the sense of accomplishment, like, okay, we can actually do this thing. Like, it doesn't matter who's in front of us. We're supposed to win this thing, so let's go out and win it. So, like, that's what we did. That's what it felt like. And, like, it was nice to do that. I guess nice is kind of a, I don't know, bad way to put it. I mean, it felt amazing. Like, when it was actually over, and like I got the rib cup, and I was sitting there, like I put it on the Twitter, like, ribs have never tasted so good because of what it meant. It wasn't like the barbecue is fantastic, but like the actual accomplishment of, like, going out and practicing and having your wife yell at you because all you're doing is talking kickball with Chip, like all that stuff, like to see it actually come true was, it was, I don't want to say a dream come true, but like it was an accomplishing of a goal, and that's what made it amazing, man.
Yeah, and it's a sport that you love and cherish. From most of the folks watching this who have played this sport, played it when they were very young. Unfortunately, a lot of our youth schools, they don't play kickball, and a lot of folks are always confused. Like, you play kickball. Some people know what the heck you're talking about. Some people don't.
Yeah.
Yep.
It really felt good that we came together and won something. It might not have been the most prestigious, like you said, ignore that. But at the same time, we came together, we won a tournament, we were the best team on the field for the day, and it really just felt good. And to be able to shoot vodka out of the cup at the bar later was pretty awesome too. So
that was a lot of fun to watch you guys do that. Still by far the best after party on the tour this year. I had a blast in Kansas City. And I'm trying to convince my team to go there next year.
Driving Robbie home was not fun.
I recommend going to it. I do live here, and so it's easy for me. But like Matt said, or Admin said, it was a blast. We had a good time all day, and then the after party was just awesome, especially in the Power and Light District.
Yeah,
there's 14 bars in that location. Like
14.
bar, walk upstairs, bar, like.
All in a block radius inside its own building.
It's enclosed. Like, there's no cops that are in there. It's all in one.
It was a lot of fun. All right, guys, I won't keep you long. I have one final question. What's going to keep you up tonight after this interview?
My sick baby.
You and me both, man. Graham's got a cough.
No, I mean, like, we've done our prep work. Like, I don't worry about things that I don't know what are going to happen. Like, I truly believe we've done our work. We're going to go out there and, like, yeah, I can obsess about, what somebody's going to throw me with a 3-2-2 pitch, but, like, I'll worry about that when we get there. Like, we've done our work, and I believe that work pays off. So, nothing.
Good answer. Chip?
Yeah, same thing. I don't let a lot of it get into my head. The night before is usually the worst, as it should be, probably for anybody. But I really won't overthink it. I'll think about, as leadoff, that's one of the biggest, that's a lot of pressure. But what I'll try and do pretty much all week is just relax before I go to bed and read, and so that way I can go to bed with a clear mind, so I'm not overthinking, what I'm going to do every time I come up to the plate, or if I'm going to be able to make every play and whenever I should, things like that. So really not a lot, because I prepare my mind for being able to sleep through it.
Very cool. Well, guys, I appreciate your time. Thank you again for joining me today on this little conversation in our lead up to the Circuit Cup Championship this weekend. For those of you who are not going to be able to attend the event, if you're going to the event, find Dave, get some glasses, wear your El Guapo party shirts if you got them on Thursday night for the bar crawl, or Friday night at the National Tour Awards party, which you guys are both attending, I hope.
Thursday night?
Friday night. Or
oh,
Friday.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be there Friday.
Yeah. We're cool. Coming straight from the airport.
Awesome. Yeah. And then for those of you who cannot attend the event, please check us out at watchkickball.com. Also follow us on Twitter at Circuit Cup for scores. And if you want to just follow the party information, everything that's going on while we're down there in New Orleans, follow us at Kickball365. Guys, thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, Matt. See everybody on Friday.
Have a great night.
Bye.